Hello class, I'm Dr. Parth and welcome to the demonstration session of the anatomy. Today I will be discussing about the bone known as the sacrum. So this bone is known as the sacrum. As you all can see, sacrum is formed by the fusion of the 5 sacral vertebra. Right? So this is the fused bone, that is a fused vertebra, that is your sacrum. So as this is the vertebral body, it will have what? It will have your transverse process, costal element, the body, the lamina, then the pedicle, then the spinous process, the vertebral canal. Okay, but as this is fused, it will have different features in it. Also, I will be discussing about the lowest vertebral part, that is the coccyx. Coccyx is formed by the fusion of 4 coccygeal vertebra. Okay, so first let us discuss about the sacrum. So as you can see, this is the sacrum. Yes, in this session we will be discussing about the attachments on the sacrum, the anatomical position and the relations of the sacrum, and the most important part, that is the sex determination of the sacrum. So first of all, let me tell you that sacrum is a flattened triangular bone. As you can see, all the 5 sacral vertebra will form, and it will form a triangular bone, right? A single united bone, that is known as the sacrum. Okay, this sacrum articulates on either side the iliac bone, forming the sacroiliac joint, right? The upper part of the body of the sacrum is massive. See, this part is massive. Okay, but as you go down, it is tapering. Okay, why? Because the upper part bears the body weight till here. Till here, it will bear the body weight, and it will transfer the body weight to the hip bone and then to the lower limb. But the lower part of the sacrum is not weight bearing, so it has been tapered. See, as you can see, it is tapering very, very fast at this end. It tapers very fast. So this part is not weight bearing, and this above part, or the superior part, is weight bearing, transferring the weight to the hip bone. So as it is triangular, the sacrum has what? It has a base, or this is also known as the upper surface. This is the apex, or the lower surface. Okay, and 4 surfaces. So this is the anterior surface, or you can say the pelvic surface. Then this is the dorsal surface. Okay, this is the whole of the dorsal surface, and 2 lateral surfaces. This is the right lateral surface, and this is the left lateral surface. So this one, this is the lateral surface of the sacrum. Okay, so there are pelvic surface, dorsal surface, and 2 lateral surfaces, right and left. Okay, so the sacrum is divided into, see, it is divided by the foraminas. There are total 4 foraminas. There is a pair of 4 foraminas anteriorly as well as dorsally. Okay, so this is the median portion of the sacrum. See, this is the most median portion of the sacrum. This median portion is formed by the fusion of the 5 sacral vertebra, and you can see, if you can palpate over here, you will find ridges over here. So there will be total 4 ridges. Okay, those over here, there are ridges. You can see in this bone, even this is more appreciable in this bone. See, this has been marked by the blue color. These are the ridges. See, okay, these are the ridges. These ridges are present in the median portion of the sacrum and represents the fusion of the 5 sacral vertebra. Okay, this is present in the median portion. So this is the median portion of the sacrum, and the part which is lateral to the median portion, that is known as the lateral mass of the sacrum. So this much part, okay, and this much part is known as the lateral mass of the sacrum. The lateral mass of the sacrum is formed by the fusion of the costal elements anteriorly and the transverse processes posteriorly. Okay, so this is the anterior part, and this is the posterior part. The anterior part of the lateral mass is formed by the fusion of the costal elements, and the posterior part is formed by the fusion of the transverse processes, and the median part of the sacrum is formed by the fusion of the vertebral bodies. Okay, so now uh, when now let me discuss with you the anatomical position of the sacrum. So first of all, you have to identify the pelvic surface and the dorsal surface. Okay, so pelvic surface, as you can see over here, the pelvic surface is smooth. Okay, it does not bear much more amount of ridges or any sort of crest or any sort of elevations. It is smooth. Okay, and it is concave. Okay, so smooth, regular and concave is your pelvic surface. And the dorsal surface, as you can see, this is the dorsal surface. You can see it is very irregular. Okay, and also it is convex. Okay, this is convex. So this is concave. Okay, this is concave. See like this. If you see like this, see, this is concave. Okay, and this part is the dorsal surface, which is convex. Okay, so first identify your pelvic surface. This is the pelvic surface and this is your dorsal surface. Okay, so the pelvic surface, when placed in an anatomical position, faces downwards and forwards. So this is my pelvic surface, which is facing downwards and forwards, and my posterior or the dorsal surface is facing what? Opposite to that. So it is facing upwards and backwards. So my pelvic surface is facing downwards and forwards like this. Okay, my pelvic surface is facing downwards and forwards, right? And my dorsal surface, this is my dorsal surface, it is facing backwards and upwards. Okay, downwards and forwards, this dorsal surface, upwards and backwards. Pelvic surface, downwards, forwards, dorsal surface, upwards and backwards. So this is how you place. Okay, apart from that, you have to remember that this is the upper part of the body of the first sacral vertebra. This body forms an angle of 30 degree, as you can see with the plane. Okay, with the which plane? The vertical plane. It is forming an angle of 30 degree. Okay, like this. See, if this is my vertical plane, okay, it is forming the angle of 30 degree. Okay, so this is my my first sacral vertebra. This is my first sacral vertebra. Okay, and it is forming an angle of 30 degree with the median plane. Okay, so this angle is very important. It is forming how much? It is forming 30 degree. This is forming 30 degree. Okay, so this is the one part, and this three parts which I mentioned. Okay, the another last one is that this one, so posteriorly you have this canal. Okay, it represents your vertebral canal. Okay, so when placed in an anatomical position, see, my pencil is inserted inside the vertebral canal. So okay, this canal is directed upwards. Okay, this canal is directed upwards. So whenever you are told to place the bone in an anatomical position, you will say that the pelvic surface is facing downwards and forwards. My first sacral vertebra, the body of the first sacral vertebra, is forming an angle of 30 degree, and the vertebral canal, it is also known as a sacral hiatus, okay, is forming, it's directed upwards. Okay, fine. So this was the anatomy. This is how you place. Okay, see, if I'm holding like this, place it like this. Okay, so this is my anatomical position of the sacrum. Okay, fine. So now let me talk about the base first. So the features of the base are, as I already mentioned, that this part is directed at what angle? It is directed at a 30 degree angle. Okay, so it makes an angle of 30 degree with the plane. Okay, so this is my base. Now first of all, this is the body of the first sacral vertebra. Okay, and the anterior margin of that first sacral vertebra is protruding out, and this part that is known as the sacral promontory. So this much part is known as the sacral promontory. Okay, now posteriorly, if you can see, this is a vertebral canal. Okay, this is a vertebral canal which forms a continuous canal, and that is known as the sacral canal. Okay, it is formed by the fusion of all the five sacral vertebral canals. So there is only one canal, and that is known as your sacral canal. As you can see, it is triangular in outline. This is triangular in outline. Okay, you will have your superior articular process, and this superior articular process articulates with the fifth lumbar vertebra, forming the lumbosacral joint. This superior articular process, there is only one superior articular process in the sacrum, which is articulating with the lumbar vertebra. This superior articular process is directed backwards and medially. Okay, it is directed backwards and medially. Okay, this part is known as your pedicel. So the pedicels are obliquely placed, and it is again directed backwards and medially, and downwards and medially. Okay, so these are my pedicles, and these are the fused laminas. Okay, these are my fused laminas. If I'm holding like this, okay, so these are my fused laminas, and this is my spinous process, the first spinous process. Okay, this is my first spinous process, which ultimately forms your first sacral tubercle. It also forms your first sacral tubercle. Okay, and this is my sacral canal. Okay, fine. Now, as you can see laterally, this whole of the lateral mass, which is formed over here, it is obliquely placed, and it is fanning out. As you can see, like a fan. Okay, it is fanning out. This part is known as the ala of the sacrum, and it is formed, as I mentioned, as this is a lateral mass, and lateral mass is formed by the fusion of the costal elements anteriorly and transverse process posteriorly. So this ala of the sacrum is formed by the fused costal element and the transverse process of the sacral vertebra. So this is known as the ala of the sacrum. Okay, now the ala is important. Why? Because of its attachment and its relations. So going from lateral, this is the lateral part of the ala of the sacrum, this is the lateral part, and this is the medial part. Okay, the relations are 4. That is known as your oils. Okay, lateral to medial, the relation is oils. O-I-L-S. O means the most lateral one is the obturator nerve. Most lateral is the obturator nerve. Then I, that is the iliolumbar artery. Then L, the lumbosacral trunk, and the S, that is a sympathetic chain. So from lateral to medial, it is oils, obturator nerve, iliolumbar artery, lumbosacral trunk, and the sympathetic trunk. So this is the relation of the ala of the sacrum from lateral to medial. This is most often asked in examination, the relation of the ala of the sacrum. So from lateral to medial, it is the oils. Okay, now the attachment on the ala of the sacrum. Okay, so attachment is like this, that this part of the ala of the sacrum, the anterior part, gives attachment to the iliacus muscle. Okay, and the posterior part of this ala of the sacrum, the posterior part of the ala of the sacrum gives attachment to the the lumbosacral ligament. As over here there is the lumbosacral joint. Okay, above it is the fifth lumbar vertebra, so lumbosacral or the sacrolumbar joint. So over here there is an attachment of what? The lumbosacral ligament. Okay, and this lip, the ventral lip or the lateral lip, gives attachment to the ventral sacroiliac ligament. As over here there is the presence of the sacroiliac joint, so over here there is an attachment of the ventral sacroiliac ligament. So the attachment on the ala is iliacus muscle. Posterior to the iliacus muscle you have your lumbosacral ligament, and anterior to the iliacus muscle and to the lateral lip there is an attachment of the ventral sacroiliac ligament. Okay, is this clear? Fine. Now this is the what? Sacral promontory. Okay, it is again directed at what angle? The 30 degree with the plane, the vertical with the horizontal plane. It is directed at a 30 degree. This promontory is important. Okay, it is nothing but the anterior margin of the body of the first sacral vertebra. Okay, fine. Now apart from that, the attachment on the ala, this attachment over here on the first sacral vertebral body is anteriorly, it gives attachment to the lowest fiber of the anterior longitudinal ligament, and posteriorly it gives attachment to what? The posterior longitudinal ligament. Okay, so over here there is the posterior longitudinal ligament, and over here there is the anterior longitudinal ligament. Okay, the anterior and the posterior longitudinal ligament. And the lamina, this is the lamina. Okay, this is the lamina, gives attachment to the lowest fibers of the the ligamentum flava. Lowest fibers or the lowest pair of the ligamentum flava. So this lamina, the upper part of the lamina, which is formed by the fusion of the first sacral vertebra, gives attachment to the lowest fibers of the ligamentum flava. Okay, this was about the upper part of the sacrum, or the base of the sacrum. Now the apex. So this, you can see, this is the apex. Apex is formed by the lower surface of the body of the fifth sacral vertebra. Over here, this is the base, this is the apex of the sacrum. Like this, if you can see, this is the apex of the sacrum. It is formed by the what? The inferior surface of the body of the fifth sacral vertebra. The base was formed by the superior surface of the body of the first sacral vertebra, and over here it is formed by the fifth sacral vertebra. Now this articulates with what? The coccyx. Okay, the first coccygeal vertebra, forming the sacrococcygeal joint. Okay, now coming to the pelvic surface. Now as I already mentioned, that this is the median part of the pelvic surface. Okay, this is the median part of the pelvic surface, which is formed by the fusion of the four sacral vertebra. Okay, and over here there will be the presence of what? The what we say, the elevations. Okay, and these elevations are formed by nothing but by the fusion of the five sacral vertebra. Okay, these are the ridges. Okay, now talking about the lateral mass of the pelvic surface. Now as you can see, these are the foraminas. So total there are 4 pairs of foraminas, and these foraminas are known as the pelvic sacral foraminas. Now if you trace it interiorly, it is continuous with what? Your sacral hiatus, sacral canal, sorry, not hiatus, sacral canal. This is a sacral canal. Okay, so posteriorly, if you trace it, this pelvic sacral foramina is continuous with the sacral canal via what? The intervertebral foramina. Okay, via what? The intervertebral foramina. As you can see, this is the intervertebral foramina. Okay, these are the intervertebral foraminas. So the pelvic sacral foraminas are continuous with what? The sacral canal via the intervertebral foraminas. Now as you can see, in between the sacral pelvic sacral canals, okay, pelvic sacral foraminas, in between the pelvic sacral foraminas, these are the bony elements present over here. These are the bony elements. Okay, these bony elements are formed by what? Your costal elements of the individual vertebra. Okay, so this bony elements over here between the pelvic sacral foraminas represents your costal elements. Okay, now this part lateral to the pelvic sacral foramina, this much part is again formed by, is known as the lateral mass of the sacrum, and is formed by the fusion of the costal element and the transverse processes. Okay, now the attachments over here and the relations over here. So this one, the median part of the sacrum, is related to the median sacral artery. So over here in the median part, you have your median sacral artery. Okay, this part has the median sacral artery. Okay, so the most important median relation in the pelvic surface is the median sacral artery. Okay, the median sacral artery. And over here, see this part, just medial to the pelvic sacral foramina, is in relation with the sympathetic trunk. Okay, so over here there will be the presence of the sympathetic trunk. Okay, this part has the relation of the sympathetic trunk. Okay, now the upper 2/3 part over here, the upper 2/3 part of the whole of the pelvic surface of the sacrum is related to the peritoneum. Okay, the peritoneum. Also, the peritoneum is interrupted by what? The attachment of the medial limb of the mesocolon, like this. Okay, so over here there will be the medial limb of the mesocolon, or you can say pelvic mesocolon over here. So the peritoneum is interrupted by the attachment of the medial limb of the pelvic mesocolon, like this. Like this, it extends like this, the pelvic mesocolon. So the upper 2/3 part of the say pelvic surface of the sacrum is related to the peritoneum, but the peritoneum is interrupted by the attachment of the medial limb of the pelvic mesocolon like this. Okay, and anterior to the peritoneum, okay, over here anterior to the peritoneum, there is what? There is the presence of the rectum. Okay, so the upper one half of the sacrum is related to the to the rectum, and anterior to the rectum there is the division of the superior rectal artery just in front of the third sacral vertebra. Okay, over here in front of it there is the division of the superior rectal artery. Okay, so the pelvic surface is related to what? The median sacral artery, right? The sympathetic trunk on its two sides, then the peritoneum in the upper two and a half of the, or the upper two and a half of the sacrum, right? And anterior to the peritoneum there is a presence of the rectum and the division of the superior rectal artery, and the peritoneum is interrupted by the attachment or of the medial limb of the pelvic mesocolon. Okay, now the attachments on the pelvic surface. So I already mentioned over here, there is on the ila of the sacrum there is an attachment of the iliacus muscle. Now this part, the lateral mass of the sacrum, beneath the first sacral foramina, the pelvic sacral foramina over here, like this, in an E-shaped form, because the muscle attachment is extending into this costal part even. So in an E-shaped form like this, okay, like this, in an E-shaped form, there is an attachment or the origin of the piriformis muscle. So like this, and this. Okay, in an E-shaped manner, there is an attachment of what muscle? The piriformis muscle. Okay, and over here, I will discuss that later on. The attachment of coccygeus is present, but I will discuss that later on. So this was about the pelvic surface. Okay, now the dorsal surface. Now this is important. Now as you can see, the dorsal surface is irregular and it is convex. Okay, now in the median plane, as I already mentioned, there is a presence of what? The sacral canal. Now the sacral canal is formed by the fusion of what? The vertebral canal. Okay, now inferiorly the sacral canal is open like this. Okay, why? I will tell you the reason. Because of the non-fusion of the fifth lamina. Now see, this is the fused laminas. Okay, these are the fused laminas. Okay, so these are the fused laminas of the individual sacral vertebrae which are fused and forming what? Your sacral canal. Okay, but the fifth sacral lamina is not fused and it forms an U-shaped opening like this. See, seen over here even. The fifth one is not fused, and thereby there is the presence of an opening in this sacral canal at the inferior end, and this part, this lower opening of the sacral canal is known as the sacral hiatus. Okay, this part is known as the sacral hiatus. Okay, this is a sacral hiatus. Okay, this part is the sacral hiatus. Over here, this is the sacral hiatus. The opening in the sacral canal inferiorly is known as the sacral hiatus, and it is formed by the U-shaped non-fused lamina of the fifth sacral vertebra. Okay, now as you can see in the midplane, this one, you can see the spinous processes of the individual vertebrae. Okay, these are the spinous processes. So this whole part is known as the median sacral crest. Okay, and the individual spinous processes, see this one, okay, and this one, they are known as what? They are known as your tubercles. That is the spinous tubercles. Okay, these are the spinous tubercles. They are individual spinous tubercles, but the whole of the line or the whole of the elevated part like this whole of the elevated part is known as the median sacral crest. So the median sacral crest is formed by the fused spinous processes of the each sacral vertebra. Okay, and the individual spinous processes, so this is the first spinous process, this is the second spinous process, this is the third spinous process, they are known as the spinous tubercles. Okay, so the whole of the line is known as the median sacral crest, and the individual spinous processes are known as the spinous tubercles. Now, just lateral to the spinous crest, there is an intermediate spinous crest. Okay, just lateral to the median sacral crest, but medial to this dorsal foraminus or the posterior foraminus, just medial to it, and lateral to this median spinal crest, there is another crest in line with the superior articular process. So this is the superior articular process which I already mentioned, which is articulating with the lumbar vertebra. Okay, so in line of the superior articular process, there is another crest, and that crest is known as the intermediate sacral crest. Okay, till here it is extending, and this is formed by the fused articular processes, and the individual articular processes forms the tubercles. So they are known as what? Your articular tubercles. Okay, so in line of the superior articular process, if you trace it inferiorly, it is forming another crest. Okay, it is forming another crest. Okay, which is that is known as your intermediate sacral crest, and this crest represents what? Your fused articular processes, and the individual articular processes are known as your articular tubercles. Okay, over here even. Now, the most inferior articular process is forming a tubercle at this at the level of the sacral hiatus. So this part, this part which is formed near the sacral hiatus, which is nothing but your non-fused non-fused fifth sacral articular process. They are known as your sacral cornua. So this is your sacral cornua. Okay, this is your sacral cornua. Okay, this was a sacral hiatus. This U-shaped non-fused lamina, this is a sacral hiatus, which is an opening in the sacral canal. This U-shaped non-fused lamina, and this part is your sacral cornua, which is formed by your articular processes. Okay, now lateral to this intermediate sacral crest, you find your 4 pairs of dorsal sacral foramina. Okay, now this again, dorsal sacral foramina is continuous with the sacral canal via the intervertebral foramina. Okay, now lateral to this sacral dorsal sacral foramina, you have your another sacral crest, that is known as your lateral sacral crest. So there are total 3 crests on the dorsal surface of the sacrum. First we discussed is the median sacral crest formed by the fused spinous processes. Then there is an intermediate sacral crest formed by the fusion of the articular processes, and then you have your third crest, that is your lateral sacral crest. Okay, which is formed by the fusion of the transverse processes of the individual sacral vertebra. So the fusion of the transverse processes on the dorsal surface over here is called as your lateral sacral crest, and this are your transverse tubercles. The individual transverse tubercles are this. Okay, on what crest? The lateral sacral crest. The lateral sacral crest formed by what? The fusion of the transverse processes of the individual sacral vertebrae, and the tubercles present on that crest are your transverse tubercles. Okay, so this is about the dorsal surface of the sacrum. Okay, so now the attachments on the dorsal surface of the sacrum. So now if you can see this line, thus the median sacral crest, if you make a line from the upper part of this median sacral crest till the lowest part of till the sacral cornua. Okay, and then another line in this continuation line only. Okay, till the your lateral sacral crest. So like this U-shaped line. Okay, that gives the attachment to the erector spinae muscle. So a line from here, okay, till the sacral cornua, then traced it laterally, and then traced it superiorly at what line? The lateral sacral crest, like this. Okay, this U-shaped origin is of the erector spinalis. So on the ventral aspect we see a E-shaped origin of the piriformis muscle, and over here we see the attachment of a U-shaped muscle, the erector spinae. Okay, and within this concavity, within this U-shaped concavity, so this area, okay, that is giving origin to what muscle? The multifidus muscle. So over here there is the erector spinae muscle, and in the concavity of that you have your which muscle? The multifidus muscle. Okay, so that is about the dorsal surface of the sacrum, the attachment on the dorsal surface of the sacrum. Relations are not that, it is just skin and superficial fascia. Okay, now the lateral surfaces. So this is the lateral surface of the sacrum. As you all know that the lateral surface is formed by the fusion of the costal element and the transverse processes. So this is the lateral surface of the sacrum. Now as you can see, the lateral surface has distinguishing features. So anteriorly there is an auricular process. This is an auricular process. Why it is known as an auricular process? Because it is like the auricle of the ear. So this is your auricular process, which is forming which join the sacroiliac joint. And posterior to this auricular process, you have a deeply pitted area, this posterior part. Okay, this is a deeply pitted part. Okay, it's named like that only. It's just a deeply pitted part posteriorly to this auricular surface. As you can see, this auricular surface is L-shaped. Okay, this is forming a letter L. Okay, so this is an L-shaped part, and beneath it there is again, this is again your lateral surface only. Okay, now this L-shaped auricular surface is formed entirely by the costal element or the costal part of the vertebra, and this posterior deeply pitted part is formed by your transverse part of the sacral vertebra. Okay, and this auricular shaped this auricular surface is having nothing but your joint. Okay, the sacroiliac joint, and this posterior part, the deeply pitted part, is giving attachment to one ligament, and that ligament is your interosseous sacroiliac ligament. So on the lip of the ala, you had your ventral sacroiliac ligament, and over here in the deeply pitted area you have your the interosseous sacroiliac ligament. Now the attachment on this part we will discuss, but first going before the attachment, you can see that this is this lateral surface of the sacrum. If you trace it inferiorly over here, see, if you see it on the pelvic surface, it takes a sharp turn like this. Okay, so this part is your inferior lateral angle. Okay, this is your inferior lateral angle. The lateral surface takes a sharp turn over here. Okay, like this. So this sharp turn is known as your inferior lateral angle. Okay, so this inferior lateral angle gives attachment to one ligament, and that ligament is known as your lateral sacrococcygeal ligament. Okay, this is the only attachment over here on the inferior lateral angle, and that is your lateral sacrococcygeal ligament. Now this part of the lateral surface, this part of the lateral surface of the sacrum gives attachment from posterior to anterior, that is from backwards to forwards to the gluteus maximus muscle over here. Okay, over here there is an attachment of the gluteus maximus. Forward to it there is attachment of two ligaments. It is a sacrotuberous ligament and the sacrospinous ligament. And in front of that, over here, there is an attachment of the coccygeus muscle. Okay, so this part is having an attachment of the coccygeus muscle. Okay, and the posterior part of the lateral surface is having the attachment of the gluteus maximus muscle. Okay, so this is about the attachments on the sacrum. So these are all the attachments on the sacrum, and these are all the surfaces of the sacrum. Now I didn't discuss about the structures which are passing through this foramina. Okay, so this pelvic sacral foramina, okay, transmits your ventral rami of the sacral nerves. Okay, the ventral rami of the upper four sacral nerves. Okay, this is S1, S2, S3, S4, but the ventral rami, and along with that there will be the lateral sacral arteries. Okay, the posterior or the dorsal sacral foramina passes the dorsal rami of the upper four sacral nerves. Okay, and this the sacral canal. Okay, the sacral canal passes what? The phylum terminale, the subdural and the subarachnoid spaces. Okay, and the dura and the arachnoid. But the dura and the arachnoid will end at the S2 level. Okay, the dura and the arachnoid covering the spinal cord, the entire spinal cord will end at S2 level. Okay, and the phylum terminale ends at your sacral hiatus level. Okay, so the sacral canal up to the S2 vertebra, okay, up to the S2, it has what? The phylum terminale, the dura and the arachnoid. Okay, but at the S2 level, this dura and the arachnoid will end. So at the S2, the phylum terminale will pierce the dura and then it will come out of the sacral canal via the sacral hiatus. Okay, so the sacral hiatus, passes what? The phylum terminale. Then these are four sacral foraminas. Okay, so fifth one, where it will come out, again it will come out via the sacral hiatus, and coccygeal nerve is remaining, so the pair of the coccygeal nerve. So over here there is the over here from the sacral hiatus, what will come out? The phylum terminale, then your fifth sacral nerve, the coccygeal nerves, the pair of coccygeal nerves. Okay, so that is coming out via the sacral hiatus. Okay, so these are the structures which are passing through the foraminas. Now the sex differences is important. The sacral index. So sacral index is your breadth at the base of the sacrum divided by the length of the sacrum into 100. So in case of males, the length is more, but the width is less. Okay, so the sacral index in case of male is 105 and in case of female it is 115. Since the breadth of the sacrum in female is more as compared to the length of the sacrum, so the sacral index is more in the female. The sacral index is breadth upon length into 100. Apart from that, this body of the sacrum, the width of the body of the first sacral vertebra, this much part, is equal with the length of the or the breadth of the ella of the sacrum in case of females. Okay, so this much and this much is same width in case of females, but in case of males, the width of the first sacral vertebra is more than that of the ella of the sacrum. Apart from that, the concavity of the auricular surface. Now see, this is a very important. See this, I am comparing the concavity of the auricular surface in case of male and female. So this one till here is the dorsal concavity of the auricular surface. So this is the entire auricular surface. Okay, this is the entire auricular surface. So till here, okay, and over here. So the concavity, see the dorsal concavity of this auricular surface is much more in case of female. But if you can see, this is the male sacrum. So it ends over here only. And this is your posterior pitted region. So this is the dorsal concavity in case of the male sacrum, which is very, very less. Okay. So this concavity is much more in case of female. The concavity of the dorsal part of the auricular surface, or in fact the whole of the auricular surface, you can see highly deep. Okay, this auricular surface is very, very deep in case of females, whereas in case of males it is not that deep. Okay, why it is deep? Because of the broad pelvis. Okay, and childbearing, the sacroiliac joint bears a major brunt in case of child delivery. So the auricular surface is much more deeper and wider in case of the female, but it is much shallow in case of the male. Okay. Apart from that, you can see this is the pelvic surface of the both the sacrums. Okay, this one is a male sacrum and this one is a female sacrum. So as you can see, the female sacrum has a lot of concavity on the pelvic surface, so as to make the pelvis, the whole of the pelvis, much more spacious in case of females. Okay, but in case of males, see, you can see the concavity is uniform. Okay, it is straight, it is somewhat straight only. You cannot say even that it is concave, you know, it's very less concave, it is uniform concave. But in case of female, it is abruptly concave. You can see like this, you can see, if you can see. Okay, so as to make the pelvis spacious, the concavity of the sacrum of the female is more than in case of the male. Okay, yeah, fine. So these are the differences. Much more difference you will learn in the pelvis. You will have separate demo of the pelvis. In that you will learn. So these are the basic differences in case of the male and the female sacrum. Okay. Now talking a few things about the coccyx. So coccyx, it's formed by the fusion of the 4 coccygeal vertebrae, and the lower 3, second, third and fourth, are as such rudimentary only. They are just like nodules. You can just identify the first sacral vertebra. Okay, first coccygeal vertebra, sorry, this is the first coccygeal vertebra. The first coccygeal vertebra forms the sacrococcygeal joint with the apex of the sacrum. Okay, and the attachments on the sacrum on the coccyx is important. So the ventral part of the coccyx gives attachment to certain muscles which are very, very important, which is your levator ani muscle and the coccygeus muscle. The levator ani muscle and the coccygeus muscle. Okay, and apart from that, it gives attachment to the ventral sacrococcygeal ligament. So sacrococcygeal ligaments are 3: ventral, dorsal and the lateral. The lateral sacrococcygeal ligament is attached to the inferior lateral angle. Okay, this gives attachment to the lateral sacrococcygeal ligament. So the ventral sacrococcygeal ligament is attached on the ventral surface of the coccyx. Okay, and the ventral surface, I'm repeating that it is giving attachment to which muscles? The coccygeus muscles and the levator ani muscle. Apart from that, the ventral surface of the coccyx is related to the ganglion impar and the glomus coccygeum over here. Okay, and the dorsal surface of the coccyx gives attachment to the gluteus maximus muscle. Okay, it gives attachment to the gluteus maximus muscle, the external anal sphincter muscle, and the dorsal sacrococcygeal ligament. So the dorsal surface of the coccyx gives attachment to the gluteus maximus muscle, this levator ani exterior or the exterior sphincter ani muscle, and the dorsal sacrococcygeal ligament. And over here in the midpoint, it gives attachment to the filum terminale. Right, filum terminale is coming from the sacral hiatus, and it is attached to the dorsal surface of the body of the first coccygeal vertebra over here. Okay, and the anterior or the ventral relation is the ganglion impar and the glomus coccygeum. Okay, and this is the first coccygeal vertebra which is forming the sacrococcygeal joint, and all the others are almost rudimentary. So this was about the demonstration about the sacrum and the coccyx. Thank you so much.